Vinayak, do you remember we were talking about film last episode? Mein,
Yep.
I think, I missed like one crucial point about film versus digital.
And what is that?
Film as a medium is imperfect.
Hmm.
It is not perfect. So, in itself, it teaches us to live with imperfections or to accept imperfections. And digital wants us to chase perfection. And that is why people are, trying to get back to film. So, I think we should welcome people in right now.
Yep.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is Beyond Pixels podcast. I am Anirudh and with me is Vinayak. And we are going to talk about cameras, more specifically, what you should buy. And to talk about that with us is on call my friend Nihar. Say hi, bro.
Hi guys, thank you for having me.
Okay, so Nihar is with us on an internet call, and that is why you might hear him a little bit weird. Please excuse us. We may have some more problems in the way, but this is how life is going to work for today. So, cameras.
Yes.
What about them?
So as in the last episode that we were talking about like which camera should you buy?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Nihar?
It depends on the budget you have in hand and what genre are you going to shoot it in. So that, in my opinion, plays a huge part.
Camera, like everything else, is a tool, and you should make it a tool. Make it work like a tool. So I have some points that I have written down, which we can take help from. Okay, and Nihar, if you agree with me, just say like that. So a tool should be practical, reliable, and not just flashy.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so can you tell me what camera do you have right now? What is your main workhorse?
My main camera right now is Nikon D850, which I mostly use for wildlife.
Okay, so the Nikon D850 that you use for wildlife. Could you tell us why did you choose that particular one?
Yeah. I prefer to go with D850 because of the sensor size that is available in it, and given the weight, it was actually a natural step up for me. I was going through various Nikon cameras at various levels. Like I started off with D3200, which is like the beginner level, and then
the beginner one.
D5300. D5300, which is the amateur level, which I still use as a secondary body when I have to quickly change lens, or when it's action, you can't usually take the time to switch your lenses. So usually you have a second body prepared with lens mounted on it, and then you shoot with it. So that I still have, and 850 because its performance range, I have to say, it's one of the best DSLR that's available on the market right now, and there's a huge amount of
D850s, 5Ds, all of these are workhorses. A7s,
these are
full frame.
Full frames. The D850, what it comes with, it has the option to switch from crop sensor to full frame. So when in wildlife, sometimes the subject is far off, so when you switch it to crop sensor, if it's Nikon, so I have a 1.5 times crop sensor, so it adds some of the reach of my lens.
So if you're shooting at
that also
helps. So if you're shooting at 100 millimeters, you switch to crop. Now you have 150 basically.
Yeah. That's the whole point.
So it adds some extra reach. That is a feature that you found to be useful for you.
Yeah.
So you have some Pathfinder cameras as well. The D3200 and your D5300. Could you tell me why did you choose the D3200 to begin with?
I'm going to be honest with you. At the time I picked D3200, that was like 6 or so years ago. I didn't have much knowledge about cameras back then. So I wanted to step up from point and shoot cameras to DSLR. So I went with the cheapest and the lowest level DSLR I could find. So it was between.
Okay, so you had a camera before that as well.
Yeah, it was a regular point and shoot digital camera, Coolpix and all.
Oh, okay, that was also Nikon. Okay, so you've been a lifelong user of Nikon. You can say that.
Lifelong, because my first camera, which was actually my mom's, which I used to shoot around as a kid, it was a Panasonic one, Lumix.
Okay, so just like last time we had a talk on this, which was your life's first camera. So was it the
Yeah, yeah.
Panasonic one?
Yep.
Was it film?
No, that was digital, and like first, I think the first one that I used, the first one in the family must be an Olympus one. That was a film one, which I never really used.
Will you be upgrading anytime soon?
I don't think so because I don't think there's much of an upgrade available on D850, and it isn't that outdated anything.
No, but usually when people shot wildlife, they would go for D4, D4S, or D5, something like that.
Those are the flagship models, right? But this is like just under D5. So that's just one step ahead, and the financial profit in it is pretty huge too. So yeah,
Okay,
I have
okay.
to
So
keep that
value
in
wise,
mind
this
as
was the
well.
best one for you.
Yep, yep.
How did you started your journey in this field?
You can say I actually loved watching wildlife documentaries and all ever since I was a kid. So I had an interest about animals and ever since childhood. So I was actually thinking of taking up zoology as a course, but the plan didn't go as well. So I chose to go with wildlife photography instead.
Okay, but did you like dive in head first into wildlife photography, or did you do something else first, like shooting cats and
Did
dogs?
you choose the wildlife genre or
Yep,
you?
yep. Obvious. Yeah, I started with whatever domestic animals or birds. Basically, the urban wildlife, you can say. Basically, I started with those guys. Whatever nearby trees, the sparrows and miners that used to perch on them. I started with those.
Which was the first photo that you clicked and it was very risky to click?
Has to be my snow leopard shot. The location was pretty tough anyway, and it was like I have acrophobia, so I don't do pretty well with heights. And this I shot while sitting on top of a cliff, and it was on the cliff opposite of mine. So there was a huge valley in between me, and looking down,
Oh,
that
damn.
was like it was literally triggering my acrophobia very much.
But somehow you managed to shoot it.
Yeah, somehow I managed to shoot. I
That is the first time we have heard something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Not to mention the entire terrain. It was like full of snow. We were living in Spit. We were actually staying at a homestay, Red Fox homestay, in Spiti Valley, Kibber village. Thankfully, the snow wasn't that heavy, so we could go at least to
Hmm.
the foothills by car and then trek on the site where the guide had spotted signs of the leopard.
Okay, so Nihar, I have went down through your Instagram profile and I have seen quite a few astro photos, and one of them has got featured in our edition 2, the Feb edition. So I would like to know a little about that photo. How did you shot that photo? What was the story behind it?
I wouldn't say I actually got into astro. It's nothing serious. It's like when you're out there in forests or on top or in mountains, like it's usually clear skies with low light pollution. So the people I travel with, they usually try. So I just experimented with it and tried to take a few shots. So I wouldn't say I'm any expert or I have much knowledge on it.
I have this one question. Have you captured the Milky Way?
Yes, I have.
Okay, at the same place, the Spiti Valley?
Yeah, the one that got featured, that actually was the arm of the Milky Way.
No, because I have been trying to do it since long and I love astrophotography
Uh,
too.
it actually depends on the locations. Like near Mumbai, there are a few spots where you can get them, like Nane Ghat and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, thank you for that
So
information. I never knew that there are places in Mumbai too
yeah,
where I can shoot some
yeah.
astrophotos.
I wouldn't say exactly in Mumbai, but yeah, in the outskirts there are.
In the beginning, we were talking about cameras and how you eventually upgraded to a D850. So, do you have a dream camera in your mind?
I actually do not have that much of a dream camera. I actually don't think much about my equipment. Like I have to get this camera, I have to do that. Like I don't think much don't have much of a thought about equipment. Just whatever works the best for me at that moment, it's good. Maybe one day own the flagship model of Nikon someday. Maybe.
What you're saying is you are also brand agnostic. You don't care about what the brand is, or do you only like want to shoot Nikon in the future as well?
I'm agnostic, but you see, what's the difference is like once you get used to one brand, like it's usually some differences, like the where the switches are located or how you adjust the modes in different brands. So those things get a bit of need a bit of getting used to. So usually when
Okay, what
you
you're
stay in
saying
the same
is,
company,
yeah. So
go
what
on.
you're saying is you have to get familiar with the setup of particular brands. Okay, मतलब basically
Yeah,
उनका menu कैसा है, तो हम लोग क्यू
yeah,
मेन्यू के अंदर कैसे जा सकते हैं, what buttons you can use,
very,
all of
very.
that you have to get familiar with, or you have to be comfortable with rather than say that.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
yeah.
one thing people should look out for when they buy their camera.
Because when you switch to a brand, that you usually have that period where you have getting used to period, and sometimes you are good enough, you miss an action shot, and that might be a bit regrettable. So if you switch to your
Yeah,
brand, or take a month or at least couple of weeks to get used to your new equipment.
yeah. No, so what I'm saying is when you are making the decision to buy the camera, that time you have
Yeah,
to know the difference between this brand and that brand. Like, which one I'm comfortable with,
yeah,
which
yep,
one
yep,
fits my hand better.
yeah, yep.
तो कितने सालों से कर रहा है फोटोग्राफी?
If I have to say seriously, I would say 5 to 6 years.
Okay, that's a good while. 5 to 6 years seriously. By that, I presume professionally or semi-professionally.
Yeah, semi-professional, you can say.
Okay, I mean, do you make money off photography yet?
Sometimes, like sometimes when people ask for the prints of my shots, that's about it.
Hmm. Okay, so you do sell prints.
Yeah, I do.
Do you have a website where people can find your prints, or do you like do it personally?
No, it's just, currently I haven't set it up because there isn't much demand. Like a few of my friends started asking for it, and if the demand keeps building up, I will think about it in the near future.
Okay, so how did your friends react to you being featured in a magazine or your photo
It
being
was
the cover photo?
it was a really great response. They had seen a couple of the shots, but some of them were new to them, and they were like, there was a lot of questions like how I shot them, and they were really curious. It was really positive and nice to hear kind of response from my friends. I'm absolutely honored to get featured. By the way, I thank you enough already, and
Man, your
they
shots were
loved
so
it.
great, man. We could not resist. Would you be willing to submit again?
Surely. I'm actually planning about it in the next edition itself.
Okay, so I have a very, very serious question.
Sure.
It's the most serious question for the photographers.
All right.
Do you love coffee?
I absolutely love it. It's absolutely necessary.
I'm a
Any
head
sort
out
of caffeine is
Okay.
absolutely necessary when you're doing those night shoots, man.
This
Of course, of course.
field is over for me now.
Okay, if you're unaware, Nihar, Vinayak
Yeah.
does not drink coffee or tea.
Oh, man. Sorry about that, dude. But I actually need a lot of caffeine, especially in the night shoots for Astro.
Okay, so which is that one genre that you find very difficult?
I have to actually say street because I'm actually not quite skittish around crowds and horns and stuff. So I'm not.
Okay.
I don't do well with noise and stuff. So it's rather than the subject, it's rather than the surroundings that makes it difficult for me.
Okay, I also get why you say street photography is hard for you. It is hard for regular street photographers as well. Do you know how many people are there in the street? This is India, dude. I mean, street photography mein hi, how big you will be, you will be surrounded by thousands of people and you will be carrying a very big camera in your hand, especially because you all you have are big cameras.
And it also draws a lot of attention from people.
Exactly. Everybody starts looking at your lens.
Yeah.
लोग क्या बोलेंगे मालूम है? फिल्म की शूटिंग हो रही है क्या?
Or the biggest thing is like some police will come knocking with his stick. क्या चालू है रे इधर? ID दिखाओ,
Yeah,
ID दिखाओ.
actually that
That has happened with me. Yeah.
This has happened to me during my college project. It's not just Chor Bazaar. This happened to me in the smack middle of Thane. It was like a college project. I was shooting a peanut vendor. He was roasting it. The police just came in,
okay.
and I look pretty suspicious to say the least. Even I'm mostly wearing dress in camo cargo, black shirt, and a beanie. So he was like,
Yes.
"Show me your ID.
Bakra
What
fas
are
gaya.
you shooting?" Show me your ID. Where are you shooting? अभी
Okay.
इसका ये किधर डिस्प्ले होगा? कौन से पेपर से हो? क्या हो? Like कॉलेज से
So
हो तो
that
फिर
comes with
क्या
the,
इधर क्यों शूट कर रहे हो? Yep, yep.
that finalizes the second point of buying gear. Buy gear according to the genre that you're going to shoot. Would you agree?
Yep. Yeah, because some of the genres they require a specific kind of lens, like macro and stuff, like macro and what do you have to say, landscape. They need macro lenses or wide angle lenses for them. Otherwise, it just won't work.
So moving on. Do you have a favorite shot?
Yes, I have a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have seen that one or not. One of them has got to be the cheetah chasing the gazelle in Africa, and the another one was that reflection of a tiger while she was drinking the water. I guess you have seen that one.
Yes, that we featured in our magazine. Yes, it was very good.
Yep, that, and the third one I got to say it's a hyena that was carrying a wildebeest leg in its mouth.
Leg piece. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, leg piece. I actually captioned it Tangri Kebab.
Okay, so what are some unique aspects of your favorite shots? Like what
Makes
what
it
sets
unique.
them apart?
The cheetah chase, I got to say, like it's a dream shot of every photographer. Like if you go to
It is,
Africa,
yes.
you want to nail down a shot of a cheetah chasing a gazelle. Like it's iconic. So
And you don't want to end up
So-
as the gazelle.
yep, and you don't want to fuck it up either because it barely lasts like a few seconds and it's gone. Thankfully, among the series of shots that I took, a few were usable, so I count myself fortunate for that. And the other one, the tiger shot, was kind of expected. This was in my early days. I shot this in like 2016. It was on my D5300. And
So that's a very old shot then.
yep, it's pretty old shot. And it was actually pretty unexpected. Like we were just waiting near a watering hole. Our guide had mentioned there are a few tigers in the nearby bushes, and one of them just came down from like a crevice, and then she slowly started entering the pool of water that was nearby. So before entering, she just looked down and drank it, creating a symmetrical reflection of it. And that was pretty unexpected. Like back then, with whatever knowledge I had, I didn't expect to get a shot that good. So that's why it's pretty special to me.
So how many like states you have traveled or countries you have traveled for clicking wildlife photographs?
Countries, it's just two, our own India and Kenya. That's just so far. I had a few plans here and then, but COVID happened and stuff just went out of the window. State I've been to quite a few in around the north part. South I still have to explore quite a bit.
Okay, so as you said that because of COVID, you have to cancel your plans. So how did you manage to cope up with this wildlife photography during COVID?
Wildlife photography, it's mostly just been window photography of the urban wildlife. So it's like back to my roots and mostly working on old photographs. Like the tour of Africa, it created a lot of data. Like I had to buy a new hard disk, so I just worked on shots which I hadn't been through, or they were just raw files lying in my PC.
You know what Anirudh says? उसके पास 50 GB का फोटोज पड़ा है.
Wait. He's an actual professional photographer. उसके पास 500, 1000 रहेंगे. I'm a clown in front of him. Okay. ऐसा मत बोला कर. तेरे पास कितने हैं फोटोज जीबी में?
जीबी में रहेगा अभी कुछ तो अराउंड
अब बोलेगा टीबी में है, जीबी में नहीं है.
इतना भी नहीं, टीबी पे कभी तक पहुंचा नहीं हूँ. लाइक रहेंगे कुछ तो 600-700.
Are you guys done comparing about sizes now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should we
come on.
move forward?
Yeah,
Let's go.
sure.
Which was the shot that you planned a lot about it, but you ultimately kind of failed in it? But when you got back to home and it was like, this is far way more better than what you thought.
I would say the entire genre of wildlife photography is like Bob Ross would say, filled with happy accidents. So it's like the subject is in constant motion and you are not in charge of it. Like you would be in fashion or object photography. Like you
Yeah.
can alter the subject. So no. So
You can't say बकरे खड़े रहना उधर.
yeah, you can adjust the lighting and all that. Here it's not like that. मतलब अभी
Everything is natural.
हाँ, so अगर दिमाग में शॉट है, अगर वैसा एक्शन हुआ तो यू आर लकी, वरना यू हैव टू मेक डू. बट ऐसा वी गॉट, एक प्लान था मेरा, लाइक एक लायन वाज स्लीपिंग अंडर अ बुश. आई वांटेड अ
Selfie.
yeah, you can say that. It looked to I wanted a portrait of its face, so but it never quite looked straight at me. So we were sitting there for 2 hours. Lions are pretty damn lazy. So it
Lazy.
just
Yeah.
didn't look
Lions
at
are
me.
lazy.
So yeah, there's another story regarding a similar incident about that. So there was this lion that was just sitting there. It just yawned a couple of times and like that. We shot and we got home. I was pretty disappointed that I didn't get the portrait of it. But when I went back and I tried processing a couple of shots, that yawn photograph, it had opened its mouth completely wide and I could see its dentition completely, and that looked pretty damn dope to me. So I would say
Cavities दिख रहे थे क्या?
हाँ, पूरे दांत पीले पड़ चुके थे, मीठा खा. So that was pretty great. The lion yawning. It was like like people think like these shots with lions open their mouth, they are roaring, but it's actually a lot of time they are actually yawning.
Mm-hmm. So here's a pretty important question. What is your end game in photography? What would be your beyond pixels moment?
I had a lot of interest in animals since I was a kid and thought I was seriously considering zoology as a career path. So there's a lot of issues regarding animals around the world, like misinformation and conservation.
Poaching.
Poaching. Conservation is not quite pretty well understood. So with these shots, try to put on their some description about the animal with it. So I hope like they can make a difference in people understanding those creatures. So if you understand them better, you can conserve them better.
Okay, and wildlife are supposed to be uncontrollable because they are, by definition, wild. So we are supposed to
Wild.
understand them and adjust according to them.
Yep. And not alter nature's path according to us.
Have you ever been like discouraged while you were like in your photography journey?
Photography, like all the other forms of art, like here in India, how the questions are raised, like it's a hobby, कितना कमाएगा तू, इसमें कुछ scope है क्या, and that sort of stuff. And earlier when I was starting out, I didn't have much knowledge, so even peers, like they weren't exactly like the most supportive thing here.
How did you find support for your art?
Support, like thankfully my parents are pretty supportive and they blocked off what the relatives used to say early on about this, and that was a pretty huge thing. And afterwards, like my mom encouraged me to do this course of photography through Rachna Sansad College in Dadar. You might have heard of it. After that, after I got a official diploma of photography, and people like started to recognize, like he has actually done some formal education about it and he knows a thing or two, it started to change.
Okay, that is
the way
nice.
people
So,
looked at it.
were you studying something else before this?
I actually wasn't. I actually was planning, like I said, I was planning to do zoology, but due to some issues, I decided to change my career path.
So, you bought a camera according to the genre that you want to shoot. What about the lens? What lenses do you own?
The lenses do, and the most that I use, it's got to be my Nikon 200-500 f 5.6, which is my go-to
Okay.
lens for wildlife. Given like you usually need around that range to shoot wild animals and birds, so that's my go-to lens. Followed by I have a 90 Tamron macro lens, which I use for macro shoots, and a wide
Oh, you
angle
also shoot
lens.
macro.
Yeah, occasionally. Nothing serious. Nothing much serious about it. But yeah. And for landscape, I have this Tamron 1735 f4 lens, which you asked about that Milky Way shot from Spiti Valley, right? That was shot by that wide angle
Yeah.
lens.
Okay, so it's like every photographer, like most of the photographers have a dream shot in their mind. Like, एक दिन मैं यहाँ पे जाऊंगा and मैं ये click करूंगा. So, which is that one bucket shot that you have in your mind?
Like I want to explore a lot of South America and the polar regions, But one, if I have to say, I would love to get a shot where a jaguar is capturing a caiman. Caiman, like those crocodiles that live in Amazon.
Yeah.
So I would love to have a shot of a jaguar pouncing on an caiman. That would be really great.
Sounds amazing, dude. Sounds like that would be a whole different adventure for you.
And I would like to wish you all the best for that shot. And I hope you get this opportunity very soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude.
And with that being said, thanks a lot for joining us and giving us your time. This has been an amazing episode. Thanks a lot for you guys for listening to us. We are Beyond Pixels. Check out Nihar. We'll put all of his links alongside the episode. You can find him on Instagram, and his photos were featured in the second edition of Phototales magazine. He was the cover feature. Go check it out. It is worth every penny. And you can check it out at phototalesmag.com. That's it for right now. We'll see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.